my god, dude. Non-linear games are so freaking cozy, man. I mean, there's something so fun about being plopped down into an open world with the goal left up to you. I mean, yeah, it can be pretty hard to decide what to do, with everything being so open-ended. But when you finally get that goal down, you can make some truly special memories that will be remembered for a long time. But sometimes something is wrong. The open-ended world you're alone in doesn't quite feel as alone as you once thought. Sometimes it's small things like structures you can brush off as just a glitch or something broken. I mean, hey, maybe the game's programmed to generate this stuff? That's what you say to yourself. Which makes it all the scarier when the game reaches out of the screen and makes itself known. What even is it though? Is it a piece of malware? An entity designed by the guy behind the game? Or maybe a spirit found its way into your game, and now it's watching you, toying with you, judging your every last move. I mean, we all know the strongest emotion is fear, and the oldest and strongest kind of fear is fear of the unknown. I think that's why the ghost in the game is probably the biggest and most memed upon trope in creepypasta history. As funny as it is to laugh at Sonic.exe and whatnot, there's something truly unnerving about the game hosting a predator you aren't aware of. Not until it is far too late. With stuff like Ben Drowned and Godzilla NES providing us with a far better written and slightly unnerving take on the laughable trend, proving when it's done right, it can be truly unnerving. Animal Crossing is one of those games to most people. Known for its cozy vibe and stress-free atmosphere, something about those games keep people gripped and bringing them back even 25 years after the release of the titular title on the GameCube. Or NES in Japan, I suppose. I remember getting Animal Crossing's New Horizons for Christmas 2020 when I was like 12. I mean, whilst I enjoyed it to a certain extent, being able to customize my character however I pleased, there was always something missing. I don't know. Like, for those years, people had hyped up Animal Crossing as this masterpiece of a series, and then I played it and it felt bare bones in like a bland way. I mean, it wasn't bad, it just wasn't the best thing ever. Cut to 2025 and I brought New Leaf, and I've played quite a bit of it as of writing this, and whilst it's not a masterpiece by any means, it's definitely a very enjoyable experience. But what I found funny was when I loaded up my copy of New Leaf for the first time. I didn't start a new game, no. There was a village already there. Now, to most people, this would be a scenario of just deleting the data on the thing and moving on, but for me, I had a look around, and it was pretty interesting. There's a lot you can tell about someone from their Animal Crossing village. But what if this was more sinister? What if instead of buying the game like a regular Joe, I brought the game through unconventional means and ended up with a haunted game? Metaphorically or literally, by the ghost of the girl who once ran the town. Deep in the depths of Animal Crossing New Leaf is a place known as the Dream Suite. It's basically a building that allows you to go into other people's villages without having to interact with anyone. It's a cool feature, undoubtedly, but what set a layman apart from a white-collar Animal Crossing aficionado was the ability to make fully fledged stories with these villages. And obviously, these probably started off as kids just having fun, but soon the adults gave it a go, and we began to see more and more horror maps popping up. One of these maps is Aika's village. It's this horror map, and it's best known as the cream of the crop. Hell, pun intended, it even got a remaster on New Horizons. We'll be taking a look at the New Leaf version. Why? 'Cause I wanna. I put a warning at the start and I'm gonna put another one here. This story goes into some dark themes, so here's your warning. I wouldn't want to upset anyone watching this video. I never set out to deliberately make you guys uncomfortable. Also, the footage isn't entirely captured by me, hell, none of it is. I'll place links in the description. With all of that being said, let's enter this haunted village and discover the truth of what happens here. Okay, let's go through a breakdown of everything that happens. This shouldn't take too long. It's not like my script is 4,258 words long. Funny! Aika Village is an extremely rich experience. It's a bit like a gourmet meal if it was turned into a game experience, but like a lot of gourmet food, it's kind of small and leaves a lot of it up to interpretation. Don't ask what gourmet food I've been eating, okay? Similar to projects like Petscop and the Blair Witch Project, it lets you sit with the texture, the feel, and how it tastes. Don't eat your copy of Animal Crossing, guys. It doesn't taste nice. Trust me, I've tried. We wake up in this barren plaza thing. There's this weird carpet-like texture. It kind of reminds me of TV static. I don't really think it symbolizes anything, but that... I don't know, maybe it just looks weird. After leaving the weird carpet area, we arrive at the first main bit of the town. It looks really beautiful, with flowers blooming everywhere and buildings dotted about. The flowers are carnations. Now, this doesn't seem like much, but according to the good old net, carnations actually symbolize Mother's Day, which connects to the theme of parenting. You might notice that the map of the town actually is arranged really carefully in an aid to get you to visit each location in a specific order, which helps bolster the story. I'm glad we have a timeline of sorts that we're working with. Isn't that such a great thing to have? Scott. There are also these fountain thingies all aligned around here, and Aika's wandering around here. Now, this map has been updated several times over the last 10 years, and what she said has changed. Originally, she just said, "I love my mummy," and every other Aika you could talk to on the map would say the same thing, with it progressively getting more and more corrupted. But in recent years, this got updated and changed into something else. These days, she just says, "This is inside my dream." Now, for the original dialogue, it makes sense to my version of the story, but for this latter dialogue, at the time of writing this didn't make much sense, but in hindsight it has made much sense. I've forgotten to update the script. Yeah. But hey, we'll get to that when I feel like I'm gonna get possessed if I don't talk about it. When you enter the first house, you're greeted with a scene of a birthday party of some sort. From the clothing, we can assume that the birthday girl is Aika. With these two blank characters, this would have to be her parents. If you go upstairs, you'll find what is presumably her room with these three paintings of her family. One of her mum, one of her dog. Not too hard to put these two together. They're a happy family who have a dog. But all of this is about to change. There's two things that are a bit off about this area that you should take note of. Once you enter the room, you're immediately hit with the music. It sounds otherworldly, like the mind of a disturbed person. The song of choice is Hypno KK, and as far as I'm aware, it's just creepy music with nothing much behind it, but it's still pretty unnerving and adds to the creepy atmosphere. The other thing of note is the doorway blocked by the dresser. If you open the dresser, it just says, "What is seen cannot be unseen." You exit the house and check the map. Huh, looks like we're gonna be crossing the bridge. Covering the map are a bunch of peach trees, and something of note is that perfect peaches in Japanese culture represent immortality and longevity. I can only find a source for the latter, but I can't find anything for the former, so take that bit with a grain of salt. Finally, we cross the bridge, and this is where things go to shit. The map begins to get more grungy. Something's wrong. It is no longer the fields of flowers for days. It's now almost a wasteland of some type. Dotted across everything are pitfalls that can cause the player to trip up. Nasty stuff. I don't think it takes an Einstein to point out that the pitfalls can mean a hidden or unexpected danger or difficulty. Chucked across the map are a bunch of candy. It's almost like childhood is being corrupted or warped with these pitfalls. The fountains are back though. There's something wrong though, they're not spaced properly anymore. They aren't even aligned. They're wonky. It adds to the corrupted visual that the game is trying to show off. In front of the closed retail place, you can find a striped wetsuit. Nice. We go south from here and arrive at a town hall with a flag with an image of Aika's mum on there, representing a controlling nature of some type? That's what I can assume. It creates a visual that her mother's controlling nature is breaking down Aika's childhood in some way. Next to the town hall is a graveyard. You can choose to dig up a bunch of stuff in there, and you'll just find another dolly. I don't know what this symbolizes, so let's hold on to this for now. However, in older versions, you could actually find dog houses in the graves. If you go back to the flag from earlier, you can find a megaphone implying that the dog went missing and the mother is trying to find it. Further south from here, you can find a police station with a bunch of beehives inside. My best guess is that the father was a policeman who was sweet. No, I'm joking. I don't really know, in all honesty. In Japanese culture, bees represent hard work and community, so perhaps the police station is the job that Aika's parents wanted her to have, and they're pushing her too far in an attempt to get her ready for this job. West of the police station, you can find the second house. This one is really interesting. The opening room is like a void, or perhaps even a brain of some type. It's hard to get through because of the chairs, but once you do, you can reach a few areas through the doors on each wall of the building. At the opening, Aika, who simply states, "Your voice hears no one." The music is KK synth. It's this very weird tune. Now, would I listen to this in my car? Sure, but I'm certain the person in the passenger seat would call me a maniac for it, and its use here probably warrants an equally strong response. The first room is a row of owl clocks in an unnerving black void. They appear to overlook two statues of some type. One is an angelic statue, and the other is a satanic one in nature. This could represent a mental battle of some type, deciding whether to do what's right or what's wrong. To the left is a feminine statue of some type overlooking a shark tank, with the shark representing a term known as it's representing this, which essentially means to quit whilst ahead, essentially leaving a situation of some type after you win. Just to give an example for modern viewers, this would be like winning a single game of Mario Kart and then leaving so you don't have to deal with the consequences and a possible loss. That's why there's a bunch of roulette wheels spinning around everywhere. It's because life is just one big roll of the dice, one after another. The room at the back shows a bunch of toys facing away from you. It's at this point where you can turn your camera and yeah, this actually made me jump for the first time I watched the playthrough of this map. It's really unnerving. This could represent the prying nature of Aika's parents with the two sets of eyes. I did have one other idea that I've not seen anyone mention, and it's perhaps a reference to Aika wearing glasses and being bullied for it. I think we're all aware of the term four eyes, and in later versions of the map, it's implied that Aika is an outcast from all the other kids at the school, so it's not really a stretch if you ask me. In the upstairs, you'll find a recreation of the Garden of Eden from the Bible, implying a perfect paradise tainted by the serpent who tries to convince Adam and Eve to eat the apple and succeeds. Kinda reminds me of the paradise at the start. Huh. I mean, maybe something tricked Aika into ruining it somehow. Finally, the basement is a picnic involving a bunch of dollies. If you go to the very end of the room, you'll find one with an axe. It's not rocket science. One of them is hiding an urge to kill. Funnily enough, it's a red one. I wonder who's hiding murderous intents. Ha ha ha. This could also be a parallel to the Bible again, with it being a reference to the Last Supper, with 12 dolls, with one of them being murderous. This was the last meal before Jesus was crucified. So, putting two and two together, this could be Aika and her mother's last meal before... well, we'll get to that. So far, we're witnessing a peaceful world being corrupted through an otherworldly entity controlling Aika's doll, tricking her into sabotaging this perfect world. I'm putting the word perfect into quotation marks because there's clear issues with Aika's parents and the way that they've raised her. Whilst it's perfect to the parents, to Aika, it's far from it, and this is how the doll manages to control her so easily. This is backed up by the peach trees. Every single last one was a singular step away from death. If you even shook one, it would die, reinforcing this false utopia idea. Once you leave the house, you find a dig spot. Dig it up and you find a striped wetsuit. This will come in handy in a moment. Walking around this area, you'll notice a bunch of spoiled or gross food, dead plants, and garbage strewn everywhere. Around here is a rundown shack. You'll find another Aika who simply states, "This scenery was always impure." Here you'll find the same dolly with an axe, clearly with murderous intent, its eyes completely washed of any emotion. Just the same grin that every other doll has. The audio is unnerving, originating from a theremin which you can find in the corner. To the side, you'll find a room with a piano surrounded by eggs. As if you're walking on eggshells or something, I don't know. Next to the theremin is a door you can enter, where you'll find paper dotted around the room, with what seems to be a diary in the corner with a lucky clover on it. If you leave back to the front door and decide to go upstairs, you'll find a dolly looking blankly into a TV. This really gives me Poltergeist brand imagery, strengthening the connection with an entity using the doll to speak to Aika. Covering nearly everything is Aika's mum, representing how controlling she's gotten, except for one seat, which just has an image of the dog. Maybe the dog just friggin' loves that seat, who knows, I don't judge him. On the bottom floor, you'll find a dolly standing over a bed with a human marked out, representing a crime scene. It's not too hard to say that the doll killed somebody with an axe whilst they slept. With the image of the mother in the background and the room having an elegant aura, it's pretty easy to say that the doll could represent Aika killing her mother with an axe as she slept after she got sick of the abuse she was receiving. Surrounding this area of the map is a lot of animal houses. Gonna take a guess in the dark and say that this is because the Paradise region is out of bounds because it isn't real. It's just not what everyone living here experiences in a day-to-day environment. It's just a fantasy. At the top of the hill is Aika and another house. This fun dream is soon ending. Ha! What a fun dream! Ha! The house on the hill is identical to the one at the start. When you enter, you find everything disorganized. The house is a total mess. Upstairs, all the drawings are scribbled out in different ways. I've got no theories, this is just an unnerving visual. Also, the creepy music is back. If you return down the stairs, you'll see that the dresser from earlier has been moved. If you enter the room behind the dining area, you find a prison cell of some type, with Aika and the doll being overlooked by a group of some type. I have theories as to what this means, but just keep that in mind. If you run even further west, you'll find yourself on a beach with the dead plants continuing to linger around. At the very bottom are a pair of red shoes alongside some of the four-leafed clovers. Now, in Japanese culture, if you were to kill yourself, you'd neatly remove your shoes and set them aside. And whilst in our culture, four-leaf clovers are actually quite lucky, in Japanese culture, the number 4 actually shares a pronunciation with death, despite being spelt differently. This is why, in Japan, 4 is a strong cousin of death itself. If you use the wetsuit to swim upstream, you come across a grave. When you dig it up, you find a spooky, scary skeleton that says shivers down your spine, a time capsule, and of course, a dolly. And that was Aika's village. So, there's a lot to theorize about here. This story features a lot of symbolism with it being an Animal Crossing map, so originally I did wonder if there was even a story. I mean, for all we know, it could just be themes, symbolism, a rant about the creator's pent-up frustrations, or hell, could just be a bunch of creepy stuff made to unsettle whoever is playing it. That being said, I'm gonna try and figure out this as a story. So if some stuff doesn't click into place, then oh well. I'm just going to assume that this comes from a Petscop way of creation, where the story takes a backstage focus in comparison to just spending time unnerving the person playing or watching or whatever. The village has changed a lot over time, but one major change I want to draw attention to is the fact that one of the later versions of the village, it's hinted that Aika's dad is dead. We'll be keeping that in mind for our analysis, as a lot of the theories align with my final theory. So, I'm not going to bring them up at all. But I wanted to talk about one I saw floating around that isn't very talked about. One non-supernatural theory posits that literally everything is just, like, you looking too deep into the village. This might not have even happened, but instead a fantasy by the map's creator. Now, is this theory a tad more lame in comparison to some others? And a bit of a cop-out? Yeah, kinda. But I still think it's worth consideration. It's not 100% out of the realms of possibility. The way it's laid out could be the way the creator experienced childhood, with it starting out with her childhood being the first house and gradually getting more and more ruined as it progresses. The murder and all that being a fantasy bit. Personally, I don't think this is true, but hey, I don't judge you if you think that's really what's going on here. But there's one thing that got me thinking. One stone unturned. Is Aika in hell, or is Aika in the game? And could both of these things coincide with each other? I think the answer is yes to all of these. Remember this room? It implies a hell of some sort, but I was never quite sure how that would work. I mean, how does the creator of the town know this info? And it got me thinking, What if Aika herself made the town? That'd explain why she's walking around and talking to you. But not only that, this was made in the early 2010s, in the heyday of the Ghost in the Game creepypasta. Around this time, the creator might have been thinking about Ben Drowned, Sonic.exe, Herobrine. It's not a stretch to put 2 and 2 together and say that Aika is now possessing the village. Now, with that all out of the way, let's talk about the story. We don't know when Aika was born, but Aika was a seemingly normal Japanese schoolgirl. She had a happy enough family, loving parents, a family dog, and even a toy that she carried around with her everywhere. A doll. However, the more she aged, the more things got rougher. The parents started arguing a lot, before somehow, Aika's dad is dead. The means of how this happened are unknown, but my best guess would be that he took his own life after the mother got custody of Aika after a divorce of some type. With the father out of the picture, Aika's mum becomes more controlling. It was like living in her house was a labyrinth of constant pitfalls. She'd constantly be treated like a monarch, but her mum was controlling and constantly expected unbelievably high expectations. And that's why the eggs are surrounding the piano. It represents walking on eggshells around a hobby. This got Aika pissed. Her mum's treatment flip-flopped between child and adult whenever it suited her, and over time, this resentment would grow, with the possible death of Aika's dad being the thing to kick her over the edge. The carnations earlier reminded me a lot of the web series Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, with Roy's mention of Father's Day as a strategy for abuse, which I have seen is a real form of abuse a lot of parents actually use. With that in mind, the carnations could represent the same strategy from a feminine angle, with the mother using Mother's Day as an abuse strategy. Perhaps for Aika, every single day is Mother's Day. Driven to madness because of her constant controlling nature and expectancy to just grow up, Aika takes an axe to her mum and puts her to permanent rest. Considering the following fits nowhere else, it's safe to assume she does the same to the dog. After this, Aika feels extremely guilty. With the doll no longer controlling her, she freaks out, and soon she ends her life. But somehow, by means that are unknown to us currently, she manages to weasel her way into the game somehow. That's what this room means. It's a representation of all the prying eyes keeping an eye on her story, treating her life and death like a sort of spectacle. It clicks into place when you consider what she said at the start. This is inside my dreams. But that could mean that it's a nightmare. And I mean, that's what hell is, an inescapable nightmare. Her every waking moment trapped inside of this village she created. Now it's up to whoever owns the cartridge to put her out of her misery and break her out. Okay, wow, that's Aika's village. I know I probably missed something. Maybe I deliberately chose to leave it out for time. I don't know, maybe I just didn't remember to mention it. But either way, I didn't get round to it, and that's okay. If I have any mistakes, feel free to comment about them so I can update the pinned comment that I'm gonna put just a bunch of mistakes there with. I don't have words to describe Aika's village. It's truly one of the strangest things I've made a video on, but it's one of my favorites. I've genuinely had such a fun time working on this, and there's a whole world of creepy Animal Crossing stuff to be discussed. So, I don't know, maybe if you want that, leave a comment. It's honestly genuinely impressive how much work goes into all these projects. I could not be more proud of the community that has grown from the Animal Crossing community. That I should not have put the word community there like twice, I'm sorry. And the fact that somebody spent time making all of this just for stupid me to analyze it in the year of our Lord 2026, I find that incredible. Before I end, I want to shout out the YouTuber Trey the William. A few months back, he made his own Aika's Village video that, like, just, it blows mine out of the water. He did a seriously great job, and it's what convinced me to look into this myself, so subscribe to him. He makes some genuinely great content. Like, dude, he made a review of Wild World so good I watched it all the way through. I don't even like Animal Crossing and I thought it was a good video. The fact he's not even got 5k subs is insane. Go give my boy some love, dude. So, for my closing thoughts, why'd you kill the dog, Aika? He didn't deserve it, bro. This map sucks. 0 out of 10.